Hi, Sheriff.
Well there, sorry, I had a budget letter that I had sent out, I believe. I don't know if it's the legislators received it, but I sent it to the treasurer and the county exec when I was asked to submit my budget.
Okay.
And that highlighted the changes that I had requested or had in my budget for the year. If you don't have it, I'll try to fill out that.
Is that,
No. No. When I submitted my budget every year, I do a cover sheet. And the cover sheet explains anything that's changed or anything that I've asked for during the year, the following year. It's kind of like a quick shot so everybody can see where the changes are in the budget,
okay.
other than if it's raises or anything like that.
I don't believe we
Is it-
received
Email
it.
the first, sir, that one?
No, not that one.
Is it this one?
That's it.
Everyone said the else and then took a minute to get this.
Yeah, just tell them what page number it is on that.
103?
Page 103 in your.
Yep,
in
you
your
got
packet.
it.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Yep.
In 2016, one of the first things I looked for was a full-time correctional officer. And that was taken out of the budget. And I, after the meeting with Matt, I agreed to let it stay out, that position. The reason why I put that position in is because it just seems like we're so busy right off the bat, but we're having issues keeping staff, particularly part-time people. We're constantly training and rotating people. And we're working under a variance from the state of New York right now, Commission of Corrections, where they're requiring us to have actually 58 full-time correctional officers. We only have 54. But as part of that variance, they're telling us that we have to have the remaining, which is 4 part-timers working almost full-time hours. We used to do that when we first started the variance, but then we had legal issues concerning the hours they were working in benefits. So we had to cut those hours back drastically to part-time hours, which has caused problems because now the part-timers aren't getting enough hours to satisfy them as if they had a full-time job. So we're not getting as many part-timers. The ones we get, they're leaving, just all types of issues. So I figured if I could get to the 58 full-time correctional officers like the state is requiring, it would relieve our problems with staffing. But I decided that's not a problem. I would give that up for another year with Matt. Also, I had in the jail and on the road, part-time, I had put a wage increase in there for the part-timers. This is to keep pace with the rest of the county. Even with the increase that I put in the budget for the deputies for next year, they're still behind the part-time senior count clerk type in salary. So, maybe the following year I can get them in 2017 or something, we can get them ahead of the account clerks. So, but that's something I've been working on, and that's included in the budget, and Matt has left that in the budget. With public.
That's the part-time
Yes,
deputies? They're not represented by the...
they're not in any union. The part-time deputies and part-time correction officers are not in any union. So they depend on me to come to you and to negotiate a raise for them. So, in fact, for 2 or 3 years, they were making less than account clerks. So, and the dispatchers were making more than that. But now they're up there with just below the senior account clerks. So hopefully next year they'll be ahead. I had also asked for in the budget money for computers and software because our software and some of our computers are so outdated that we're having problems with the federal government. We're not supposed to be running on certain software in our computers, and the federal government doesn't want us to be running it, but we are running it right now. Some of that money, I believe, was taken out to the county executive budget. So I believe in my email that I sent you the other day, I asked for some of that money back. I don't know if you want to talk about that now or move on, talk about it later.
Since we're on that topic, you can talk about it now.
Okay. In the email that I sent you the other day, you see it's in line
2259?
Yeah, 2259, thank you. Matt had reduced it to 10,880. We have to go back up at least to 12,880. Originally, this was $16,999, $99 less than my original request even. So I came down the first time that he asked us to cut, and then he cut me even more. And I'm asking you up at least a couple of $1,000 more than what the county exec cut me.
What is that line item number specifically?
It's computer equipment, and it's A154 3150 002259.
It's on page 19.
Sheriff, it's 18,948 now in the executive's budget. What are you requesting it to go to?
Matt had reduced
It from,
it to
yeah.
10,880.
Yeah. It's the 3150.
If, I don't know if you have, if you have Matt's reductions that he did to me.
It's on page 21. The 3150.
I originally asked for 25,179.
Okay, all right. Okay, I got you.
And he dropped it down from 10,880. And now I'm asking 12,000.
You guys have this single sheet here that I put in your desk, Roy?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
your
right.
file.
The problem you have with this stuff is it was out of my hands prior to getting my own data person. And we had to rely on the data department. And of course, you know, they have enough going on as it is. I can't, you know, I couldn't push them enough. And they have to ask for the money from you. And not, at that time, not you, but the board of supervisors. Now that we have our own data people, they're trying to correct these problems and, you know, it comes right to me now. That's why I'm putting it out there. Yeah. I had asked for more supplies, money for supplies, for in-house supplies, because we tend to be doing more of our own work in-house, like painting and waxing the floors and all that stuff. We use more inmates to do more of the work in the jail, and to try to get more of the work done. That line was cut, but Matt reduced it to 12, 14,000, what I was asking for, that's in 4449. Again, I'd like to see that. If that can't happen, I understand. We just have to rely on DPW. I guess one of the biggest issues is we asked for 4 vehicles for next year. In fact, today we got the 4 vehicles that was put in the budget for this year finally.
Oh, yeah,
We finally got it today, and here it is September. We're down 7 vehicles right now. My concern is the ones that we had running, have been running really hard because we've been down so many cars. If you have the budget packet, you're gonna find whatever page it's on. Back in June, I think it was June, I supplied the budget officer and county exec with the mileages on the car then, the cars we had then. You might as well put another 10,000 miles on those cars easy between then and now. Probably even more because the number of cars we lost during that period of time. If we don't get 4 cars by this time next year, I don't know what to tell you. You also cut my maintenance line. So if I don't have money to fix the cars, and I don't have the cars anyway, there'll be times when you're gonna need to see 2 deputies in a car, or maybe only 1 car. I'm not trying to blow this out of proportion. You can come up and look at our cars anytime you want. And you know, there's unforeseen things that happen. We put over 500,000 miles on our cars a year, the sheriff's office, our combined cars. And we hit deer, we hit turkey, you name it, we hit it. And we're out in the worst weather, so we have accidents.
Sure.
Oh, Dukes, I'm sorry.
How many vehicles do you have?
Currently, probably
On the road right now,
patrol vehicle.
Yeah,
we have 5 that are functioning currently.
okay. And what would be,
12 is.
12 is what we had at one time.
okay. Ian, was there ever a time when you had some kind of a system where you're swapping them out at a certain mileage or number of years or what? Probably mileage?
It was never mileage, it was usually going, well, we tried to get 3 every year. And that was kind of keeping us just even. But mileage is, you know, I think legislative being can tell you 300,000 is kind of normal for all cars.
Yeah.
3, so you're trying to get 3 cars a year. I don't know if we bought any last year or not, did we?
Yes, last year we were given, you mean 14?
Yeah.
14, we didn't get any cars. 15, I got 4. Well, I take it back, I think 14 we got 2. And this year we got 4. We just got them. And I'm looking at 4 for next year. And that'll get us probably back to a comfortable stage. And then if we can do at least 3 after that, we should be okay again.
Mm-hmm.
See, we went without getting cars for at least 1 year or 2 years because of the budget problems. And
Kind of catching up.
and yeah, now we're doing catch up. Yeah.
Just to clarify, Sheriff, the 5 you have on the road now that's not including the 4 new ones? Or?
Correct.
Okay, so
Now we have to put computers and all the other junk in these cars.
so then you would be up to 9 once you get those other
Yes.
4 on the road, okay. Bob?
You, Duke, you answered my question.
Okay, thanks.
You gotta remember, you know, just like in DPW, you have 5 trucks, you got 5 drivers, 1 truck goes down, what do? You always try to have at least 1 extra vehicle to backfill in case something happens, and that's what we try to do. So,
How many deputies do you break the county out into
3 zones.
3 zones? How many deputies are there in each zone at average?
Average is 1.
One.
That's road patrol deputy.
And that's what these vehicles are.
Right. That's just road patrol. Okay? That's not transport, that's not all the other duties that they have to do, evictions. So I might have other deputies working, using cars. We have deputies, I believe, take a car down here. So, if we have court night, I might have 3 cars on the road, but I got 1 or 2 guys out in cars at court, doing security for the courts,
Which they pay you for?
if they do.
Gary, this morning when I was going to work, your guys were doing an eviction in Amsterdam, and there were 2 cars there to do that, because I would assume the neighborhood that it was in or whatever was.
Not even that, that's my orders, that there's 2 deputies there until we know that it's secure.
When they were, I would want to have 2 deputies anyway, but now that's, so we don't, and I don't want, we only have 1 car on the road at that time after.
What we normally do is, depending on what zone it's in, we'll pull the zone car and we'll put the car there that's doing the eviction together until it's settled down and we know there's no problem. Then we let the zone car go back out on
Technically, we
patrol.
only had one person on patrol during that time, right?
Well, no, then there won't be anybody free in that zone.
Okay.
And we'll pull the car from another zone to come central and to cover the 2 zones until that is, squared away. Then we put everybody back in their zones.
Yeah, I wouldn't go in there alone either, so we're something.
See, it's financially the better way to go, because instead of having 2 people come in, and 1 guy might only have to stay for 3 hours or 2 hours,
Gotcha.
it's not worth it, so we pull the zone car.
Thank you.
And then if there's an issue that we can't handle, of course, we call the state police. That's how it works.
So again, how much are these cars on, you buy them through state contract?
They average about 20, with all the junk in them, about 27, 28,000.
Well, that includes lights, sirens,
Yes, striping. But that's not the computers. Computers are usually separate, they cost, they're different price. And that's the problem too now. We get a car, that used to be, you put the stripes on it, and put the lights on, that was done. Now there's so much equipment you gotta put in them, they're very expensive now, cars. Believe me, you got your money out of the cars, that we're running down.
It came in my head now, maybe a little off topic, but do all our deputies have cameras?
They did it one time, but we were the first ones in the area to have cameras, and we had the first generation ones, the little tiny ones,
Yeah.
and they have issues. So some of the deputies don't have them anymore. They have problems, and they break inside or whatever. So we have some that have cameras, some that don't. I had put a grant in beginning of this year with Senator Amador. I haven't heard anything back yet from him.
Okay.
Requesting, money for cameras and for storage.
Mr. Chairman, I just don't think we should really let a year go by without any vehicle replacement. It's just, I hope we can come up with something here, maybe not as many as the sheriff is asking for, but we should not let a year go by without replacing any vehicles.
Okay. Duly noted. Yes, sir, Martin.
Can we talk about the revenues?
Sure.
Is it just a fluke right now that that one line item is about half?
Well, we hear rumors, they were trying to also change federal laws, that there was less federal prisoners in federal courts and jails. So we knew that maybe down the line was coming that we're going to be reduced. We got a report not too long ago from the State Sheriff's Association, I believe, sent us a report. And counties like ours, there's been a big change. There's been a drop in some areas and a rise in some other areas for housing. And we're one of the areas where housing is dropped. So,
So the areas that have gone up, is their price lower than ours, higher than ours?
most of those areas are out west, the western part of the state, the border areas.
Yeah.
So I believe that's because of issues with the border or whatever that they have. Yes, our prices, we get a good revenue for our inmates. that's hard fought for. We negotiate that with them, and it's not easy. You know. And of course, we make deals with them as far as if you're gonna give me too much money, then we want this many years out of you for service, you know, when we sign a contract for that. We also then tell them that we want more money for transporting the prisoners. Yeah, it's the barter that we do with them.
So in that contract, are they living up to their end and supplying us with what they said they would?
They started this month,
September 1st.
we were back date to September 1st. They wait for their budget year when they make an agreement. They don't start in the middle of a budget year because the money's not there. So we made this agreement several months ago, and they waited until now to give us a rate.
Okay, and so then we're going to then collect payment for those back marks?
Up there, no, the state don't, the federal government doesn't do that. I've tried doing that to them, but the thing is, they wait, and they sign the contract. When they sign the contract, it's usually just when their budget year is beginning. Because then they already
The
budgeted.
new
the money.
contract is the price up or down?
It's up.
$10, $20 up without getting into specifics?
It's only up, I think, it was up $5.
$5.
Yeah, I tried for a lot more. But you have to justify your reasons for that kind of money. And it was very hard fought this time just to get the $5 out of it. But we also increased our transport fees about $12, $15 more.
The occupancy, are we fully occupied generally, or?
No. Our average daily population has dropped, probably around March, April this year. It started going down, and it's not just us. It's a lot of jails like that in the area. We've been running about 130, 118, fluctuating.
And our max capacity is?
Well, the jail is rated now at 177. But the state won't let you run that high. They want you to have a leeway, keeping us with all these different individuals that we have to house. They have to be classified different for security reasons, health reasons, you name it. And so if I was to fill my place, 150 to 155 would be pushing the state limit.
When we're dropping down below our average, are we able to move prisoners over to different pods and close pods down so that they're not being kept at the same temperatures and maintained and yada, yada, yada?
Well, you know, I've heard this before, and I anticipate this question tonight. No matter how many prisoners you have one prisoner in one pod, for some reason, you gotta have a correctional officer. So I could have 42 prisoners in that pod and only have one correctional officer. I could only have one prisoner. I still have to have one correctional officer. You still have to play the game with the state. The females always have to stay separate. Juveniles always have to stay separate. If I have one juvenile, they're supposed to be separated from the adults, except for school. When we have school going on, then they can co-mingle during school. But all the rest of the time, they have to stay separate. So it's not something where I can say, okay, we're going to shut a pod down because I only got 10 people and move the other end. Well, I might have certain people that can't be with people. That's why I have to separate them.
Okay.
So, and then on top of that, you have constant watching. You have hospital duty. If we have to go to Ellis, we have to have 2 correctional officers there all the time. They won't keep patients unless we have 2 correctional officers there. Because they had issues a long time ago with another prisoner from some other jail, and they changed their rules. So, you know, and you're gonna have the lights on no matter what, you're gonna have the water on, you're gonna have the gas on. It's all there, you know. You can't change it by, and we've never shut one section of the jail down in the 18 years I've been there. About the only, we have, which is a special housing area, which is for people we have problems with, or we call medical, where if we have somebody that has a medical issue that we need to separate them for some reason, we have 4 cells. Those areas have been closed on and off. But, you know, when they're open, we used to not have to man them, but then the state came in and said, no, you gotta have somebody in there. Whenever you have one person in there, you gotta have a deputy, a correctional officer.
Now, onto another topic. We get paid to transport
Federal.
federal.
And state.
Now, is that also for juveniles too, for other people we get?
Correct.
Because
We
we're certified or
transfer a
something?
juvenile for social service.
Mhm.
We charge you for the mileage, the deputies, and the toll.
Now, with that transport, are you when you bill them, are you billing them for the full rate that they would get reimbursed from the federal and state?
I don't know if that, you have to ask the commissioner when he gets, we bill
He
them.
set, so that he sets the rate?
Well, we tell them, the DSS,
Mhm.
we'll send a bill over every, I think it's every month or every quarter, I don't remember now, but I think it might be every quarter.
So you set up a
We
bill?
fill out a sheet that says we had 2 deputies, these are the deputies, this is how much time, this is how much it costs, this is how many miles, and we send them a bill. And then they reimburse us. The state, on the other hand, when we do state transports, they don't give us full reimbursement.
Well, I'm not saying, are they fully reimbursing you? I'm wondering if the county is getting their share of the federal and state reimbursements, like their programs they get.
Well, we transport federal prisoners to court, to hospitals, or to another jail. We get almost full. It used to be a lot less in this last contract. We negotiated pretty good, and we're almost at full now. And that's actually pretty tough to get full reimbursement, because they're trying to do it as cheap as they can. That's why they use us. And then, you know, if you look at the packet, I do a sheet in there, like for the part-time correction officers, the part-time deputies, and I ask for a total amount of money. And then I also put in there the money that's revenue sources that offsets that total amount of money. So if this one line comes to mind right away, with 200,000, I think, for corrections. But you might have another 40-something thousand for prisoner transports coming in as revenue to offset that. So you have to understand how that works. I might ask for 200,000, but you're only maybe spending 180 or maybe 160,000. So.
Sheriff, I talked to the undersheriff Kramer the other day, and when I was looking at the overtime and then the part-time, and you know, I think for corrections officers, you're spending like $240,000 for overtime, deputies another 75, and dispatch is another 57. So the logical thing you would think, well, maybe if we hire more part-timers, we can cut down on the overtime, but according to the undersheriff, that's really not how it works. Could you explain that? Yeah.
Part-time filling, the filling when the full-timers are off, but it also goes to training them. And, you know, we spend a lot of money on training, a lot of money on training. We just sent 4 deputies to school, and they were over $20-something thousand, $25,000 each just for their basic training. Then they got training after that that we have to pay for when they get out of school for another 2 months. So that's deputies. Dispatcher, if there's somebody we hired that has absolutely no background, like a fireman, if they're not a fireman, not an EMS person, we bring them on board there. They take probably 4 months, 5 months to get them up to speed. And we try to get 40 hours a week out of them to get them up to speed in time. So we use a lot of money in training. I got one girl training right now. I got another one I'm going to be hiring soon. She's just constantly rotating. If you want to hire more people full time, you also have to think, I'm not trying to cut my throat, but then you got to look at benefits. They get time off. It's a gamble. We get a snowstorm or something, that's where I eat up money for part-time. You know, dispatch and road patrol. So, in corrections, it's a crapshoot. You know, you have numerous one-on-ones, which is when a guard has to stay in front of a prisoner 24 hours a day, cannot let them out of their sight. And that costs a lot of money. It's usually overtime.
Gary,
Joe?
what amount of people leaving because of our pay scale, and I understand our pay scale is lower than several municipalities around us, are we training people and losing them?
Yes. The problem with dispatch, the problem with dispatch is, we're always hiring there, just like road patrol and jail. But dispatch, we hire people, and they're looking for a job in the meantime to get to where they want to be. So they come there, they start dispatching for us, they're making halfway decent money. Fulton County makes more money than my dispatches. So I was trying to steal dispatches from Fulton County, but I can't. They're stealing my dispatches.
So Sheriff, what do we lose when we lose one like that? I mean, how much money in training?
How much money in training?
Yeah, whatever, to get that person ready to do the job.
Well, I don't know. Are you asking how much it costs to get a deputy dispatcher trained?
Or people that were losing because of that, because they're going somewhere else for a higher pay right away, or...
Yeah, well, here's the best way to equate it. I train them for 4 or 5 months. They leave to go to Fulton County and make $5,000 more than they pay. Simple as that. So why stay here when you know now I just train you because I'm always training. Fulton County isn't always training. So now I trained you and they get an opening up there. So you went up there for $5,000 more. But that's dispatch. Road patrol, part-timers, I eat them up faster than I can train them because we just had 5 deputies leave this year. A while back, in June, I think it was, July, we had to suspend the contract so we can get through a month, so we can get some people back on the road.
So it does cost us a lot of money.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I would have sent another 4 people to school, but we couldn't come up with a list in time. The county wasn't able to get a list together in time for me to send 4 more people right now. So January, my plan is probably to send 6 people to school. Yeah, it's a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of work for everybody in the county, because we have to interview them, personnel has to deal with them, you know. We spend a lot of money on psychological tests. Personnel spends over $200 a test. And that's for our dispatches, that's for our corrections, and for our road patrol every time we hire somebody.
Mark?
You mentioned that the state has you under variance right now.
Yes.
Are they assessing a fine for every day?
Well, variance is a deal that you work out with the state. The state comes in and says, this is your staffing analysis and this is what you have to have. And then, of course, then we rebuttal and say, well, look, we don't want that many, can we do it with this many? And they say no. And then we start, and you know, we all, the sheriffs all know and the state know, that is the game you play. All right, how about we use part-time? And then you go back and forth with the number of part-time. Now, this staffing analysis is very old. This is back, I think it's 2002, 2003. So if they were to come in tomorrow and do a staffing analysis and say, well, you know what, we decided we want you to hire 2 more people, we'd have to. But they've been good to us so far with this issue, especially when we had to change the part-timers from working so many hours. So, and again, and I think it goes back to what you talked about, Terry, we don't have that many part-timers. So it hasn't really been that issue. We've been working a lot of overtime to keep ourselves at minimum staff.
Sheriff, you recently established a lease on the tower, and I believe it was
Verizon.
Where does that show up?
That's not in there. And I told the county exec that I didn't put it in because we're still working with Verizon. In fact, we had a phone conference a little over a week ago with them, and this week we got a email breaking down the equipment that we plan on still putting on that tower for this next project that's coming up with emergency management. And we're still trying to deal with Verizon as far as that tower, whether they have to beef it up, you know, or build another tower, or whatever they have to do to make their system work. I would, if things go right, I would anticipate probably like in the spring, we might see a revenue start, maybe sooner. You're getting into the winter now, and they want to put a building in there.
What was the revenue per month?
It's $2,000 a month. And 3% every year. Every year.
3% escalation.
Correct.
So you don't anticipate seeing the revenue for that until?
I'm gonna say the spring. Now, the building they're gonna put in is a prefab, cement building, so erecting the building isn't a problem, but if you get a lot of snow in that area, and they're gonna do some outside work on the building, running cables for their system, that's an issue.
Any other potential for renting to other cell phone companies?
No, and I say that because that tower right now has a lot of equipment on it. And, you just can't put another antenna on it because it affects all the rest of the antennas and the structure itself. That's one of the issues we're having right now, is there's quite a bit of antennas on it, and we're deciding with them whether it needs to be beefed up or not to handle the weight. But I'm hoping spring, I'd like to see it soon. Any other questions?
Do you have anything else to talk about?
Would you like to go through the email that I sent you, or is there any questions on that?
Sure, walk us through.
Okay, when I had my meeting with the county exec, he provided me with a list of the cuts that he had done to my budget. He had originally asked me to do at least a couple $100,000 cut to my budget the first time I met him. He said, the sheriff and I said we do the best we can. We came back with over $200,000, I think it was $217,000 cut in our budget. We then had our meeting with the county exec just before he put out his tentative budget, and he cut me another over $100,000 more. So it was over $300,000 he had cut out of my budget. So I wanted to put something together for the legislators, because I asked him what's the next step, and he said it was to meet with the legislators. So I wanted to put some type of rebuttal in here to the legislators to say, look, all right, this is what the tentative budget says, this is what I'd like to see if possible. Part-time, I just did bullets so you can understand what the money was for. The part-time, like I said, part-time dispatchers, basically to cover training, and $10,000 of that's offset anyway by the 911 revenues we bring in. The next line is an office manager. That's a current position that we have, not office manager. It's a person that works in a title that's below this. I had asked for the information on this title, and unfortunately, I did not get it until the tentative budget was put out. When I finally got the information I needed, I put it on this list here. The change in this person's salary is only going to be $257 changing their title. Now, the reason why I want to change the title is they're doing work, right now, they're doing work that's above their title. They've been doing it for a long time. So I don't need the issue where they come in and say, look, I'm working out of class, I want to move to the next level. I talked to the person is actually, doesn't want to start a problem. So I went to Nicole Diego and sat down with her and said, what can we come up with, what title is this, the title that they found that would cover the work that she's doing. Now this person does most of this work every day, and then when my secretary's gone, she does all the work. So she's actually doing the job that a higher paid person is doing.
Sure.
Yes.
Is that the 462 line this would replace? Senior account clerk typist?
Correct. Next one is the deputy sheriff. That's just, when we got the tentative budget, we went through the budget again, and we noticed that there was a calculation mistake in that line. That what I asked for, the 133 is the actual salary of that person that's going to be in that line. It was, for some reason, it wasn't put in when the budget was printed up. Then you have the part-time deputies. Matt reduced it to 130. I asked for 190. That, I believe, is less than what I originally asked for. Even. But again, this is the part-time deputies. I had asked for a raise. And again, I plan on sending at least 6 people to school in January for training. And this is offset by $11,000 in revenue that line. Okay.
Would you be so kind as preparing another sheet that would show 2014 as opposed to this in a year-to-date where we are this year?
You have that.
It's in here?
It's in, was due to the,
Email it. I'm sure.
Email?
you're back to 20 calls, I don't know.
It's side by side with this? Good, thank you.
Next line is my line. I had asked for a raise for 4 years, and I'm asking for a raise that I feel that not me, but my position, what it's worth. If you were to see what counterparts, law enforcement agency pay their chiefs of police in our area, I'm paid the least. In fact, sergeants in the city of Amsterdam make more money than me. And it's one of the problems I had with getting, no offense, Louis, getting an undersheriff. I had interviewed several people before I picked Justin, but the people that I interviewed were actually making a lot more money than Justin was making before and what he's making now. And they said, why do I want to get less money and have more responsibility? So I'm asking you please to look at this. If you have any questions, I have backup paperwork. I supplied some people the information to make a decision concerning across the state, across the nation, what the salaries are. And I don't believe that this is too far out of line.
And where are we seeing that?
Excuse me.
Where are we seeing that?
Where we
You
see
mentioned that. Where is it showing up here?
in the budget,
Yes.
I can't put it in the budget. I don't have the ability to change my salary in the budget, so I provided,
So where is your request showing up in an email?
oh, it's in the email I just sent, okay? It's about the fourth line, yeah, the fourth line, the fifth line down, sorry. The next one, of course, is the vehicles, we discussed that earlier. The next line is for rent, lease, repair, 90,000, I got here, just about 90,000 wasn't even my original request. And that's what I'm asking for. The county exec cut it down to 85,000.
So excuse me one more time, Sheriff. So is that under other compensation? Is that the line where you were talking about?
No. My line would be 815-4 3110 00 1110 509 in the sheriff's budget. Got about, if you're looking at our budget, probably about halfway down in personnel. Again, if you get 4 new vehicles, say, this could be dropped down easy to 85. If you get 2 new vehicles, it'd be close, 85,000 would be close.
Excuse me, Sheriff, what was the date of that email?
Yesterday.
Yeah, it might have been yesterday.
It was in yesterday?
Yeah, I believe it was.
I just forwarded it to Cheryl so she can print it for us.
Thank you.
Sorry you don't have one of these to follow.
Well, I'm looking for it on my phone.
Oh, I'm gonna print it.
You can give her your copy.
I got it. It's got it. It's going right now.
If you want mine, I'll follow the other sheriff.
I just printed it. I'll make it.
While we're reading, Sheriff, when is your term of office up?
3 years from now. Okay? No.
Probably be quicker to give it to me. It's the same as
I can
your
just give them mine.
email.
Everybody else is set?
I have my phone here.
Yeah, like-
Cheryl, if you can make me one this is about to die. And you may have mentioned this. I know you talked about the jail computer equipment line, the decrease there. There's a number of other computer equipment lines for the different accounts in the sheriff's budget. The civil office has some for software. Is there any, there's about a $14,299 difference from what you requested, your adjustment to what's in there now, the 1088.
Right.
That 15,000, could that come out of one of those other lines? I know you said this line with the jail is critical because of communication with the federal government. Those other lines, is it as critical? Could anything be readjusted there?
We'll refer that to-
Yeah, there's actually two lines. He referred to a 4459 in the jail, which is actually including replacing some analog cameras that are either failing or have failed, get more security coverage. That's actually the 3150-00259. That's the one that has the big cut. And then there's the 3110-002259. That's the sheriff's office 2259 line. I think I don't know. I think that the computer software one is the 4459 line in the 3110 budget. That went down 8,480. That one's a big piece of licensing for upgraded software. The issue with FBI is we have a lot of XP machines, a lot of machines well over 8 years old that we're still running for law enforcement, which we're not supposed to be, as of April last year. So I've been slowly trying to replace them, but they didn't want to put a $200,000 budget increase last year to do them all. I'm just trying to scale it. And this would hopefully be the last year that we're a year out of it.
Okay.
The cars being the most expensive, they're all almost all XP. They're better than 70% of them are XP, and they have the most law enforcement interaction on them. So they're most important to upgrade to Windows 7 and University Law. That's the 3110 line, $8,000 cut.
So these are all critical upgrades is what you're getting at?
They're not like for fun or to make it nice and new. It's stuff that is well worn, old, and out of compliance. Yeah,
Like I said earlier,
we cut a lot.
depending on other agencies, now we're finding the issues and we're trying to, they brought it to me and I'm trying to correct it.
Like our IT person put new servers in just to upgrade because some of them are old. We took it out. We put in a fingerprint scan because we had a 50% matching grant. We took it out. Things that would be great and would maybe increase our ability to do our job, but we'd wait. We took out. These are the things that are left that we submitted as things.
And those are the numbers in your department request or the sheriff's adjustment?
In our department's request.
Okay.
By the time we got to you, we already took $212,000 out.
Okay.
I have the county exec's cuts. And the county exec was the first cut of what we had requested. So he has now what we requested, his cut and the difference. So if you wanted a copy of that, I can show you. And it explains what line it is. So
Okay.
the other sheriff mentioned the fingerprint computer system, there's a 50% match on that. And those are something that was very hard to come by. We wanted to get that for our satellite stations. Once we have it on our satellite stations, we're able to use them almost completely like the sheriff's office, because then we can make an arrest and bring them there, and do the fingerprint scan, do the arrest reports right in the computer. Everything can be done just like we do at the sheriff's office. We can only make simple arrests now. We are issuing a parent ticket and saying goodbye. It's not something we have to fingerprint for. It takes statements. You can't use it to the full extent. If we had the fingerprint system, they would put it. And that would save traveling, time out of the zone, where the bears are, all that good stuff. We left off with the equipment rental, lease and repair. Of course, like I said, that's the car repair. That's, I I had put in, more than $90,000 that I'm asking for now, but the county exec wants to go down to 85 in that line. That all depends on our conditions of our vehicles. The next one is special supplies material. I'm asking for 14,000. Again, this is because we try to do a lot of the work in-house now to get it done. And county exec has offered 12,000, and I'm asking for 14. The software, the general sheriff just went through that. The correction administrator, from 61,786 to 62,149. Again, that is salary per the contract. It needs to be changed. It was just for some reason the computer spit it out the wrong number. We found in the tentative budget that it needs to be adjusted. Correction officer part-time. This is, what I'm asking is 175, it's still $25,000 less than what I originally asked for. County exec is saying 165. Again, this line is offset. I got another form here about $45,000 in revenue that we received for part-timers. And the fact that I'll be trained to over two, that's all I have to do is train. Next one is computer equipment. Again, the sheriff went through that with you. Professional services, that's 4431. The county exec has suggested 95. That is a contract we have with medical for the jail. Can't reduce that. The original, what I put in was 103,530. That's what the contract is. If we don't have that money in the budget for next year, then I don't have a contract, then the state will be knocking on my door and the legislators, because it's a law that the jail will have a medical doctor.
Sheriff, what medical? Only because, and I totally agree with you, if it's contract, it has to be there, so.
This is a contract that we have with EMS in the city of Amsterdam
Got it, thank you.
right now. And they come in, they have a nurse practitioner who oversees our medical staff, and we also have training by them. They oversee our defibrillators, numerous things that they provide to us. And they have the doctor on staff that the state requires us to have.
Sure, that's what Eastern Medical, right?
Yes.
Okay.
EMS, yes.
That's what them, and I think when we put that out for bids, we had a difficult time getting anybody, didn't we? They bid that contract or no?
It's not, no, this is not a bid. This is a service where we don't have to go out to bid, but they're, believe it or not, cheap.
And compared to what else we
Yes.
have?
And other agencies will not come in. We have a hybrid program. Other agencies, they want to staff the doctor, the nurses, and anybody else. They want to bring their own staff in. Schenectady County has it, there are other counties around that have that. They pay a lot of money for that. We have a hybrid system where we have county nurses that work for me, they're employed by the county, that staff that. The only thing we're paying for with them, and this is why it's so much cheaper, is we're paying for their doctor and their nurse practitioner. Okay. But that has to be put back in the budget because of the contract and the law. Medical fees, this is what we pay when we have to take prisoners to doctors, to the hospital. And county exec reduced it. You want to keep it that low, fine, but I'll be looking for money, almost guaranteed. We have a population in there of a lot of sick people. We just had 3 parole hearings the other day. All 3 people went to see their parole hearing in wheelchairs. We just had a person that was in the hospital, had a stent put in. I mean, it just goes on and on, the issues that we have with our staff. We have, and this seems to be a trend in the last year or so, a lot of female inmates that are pregnant. They require more attention, more hospital visits, you name it. And if we ever have a female have a baby in the jail, they have to keep the baby in the jail for a while. We have to take care of it. We have to provide everything.
No, I wasn't laughing at that. It's not a trend, it's always been the females that have been pregnant.
So, you know, this line is, I'm looking at history, and when I put the money in there, I can't tell you that is exactly what I'm gonna spend. It all depends on who comes walking in the door, and we never have the most healthiest people walking in our door. The last line, the next line is medical fees. Medical, let's see.
Medical supplies.
I don't see medical supplies. Food supplies.
Food supplies is last one.
We got food supplies. Again, I did that with history, what I asked for, and that's 5,000, 185,000, that's 5,000 less than I normally asked for. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever, before I went with the company we have, I was budgeting over 225,000 a year, and it was going up every year. And once we got that company in, the next year I dropped it down to about where it is now, and it's been steady, and that's because we have a contract with this company. The food cost is the same every day for the whole year, because we have a contract. The price of the food can go up tomorrow, and you know what? I pay the same price today because I have a contract with them. And then I have to negotiate 90 days before the contract ends for the next price, for the next contract. So it's been a very, very good program for the county. And this is, again, history. This is not me throwing a number out there and just saying, oh, this is what I think it's going to cost. So, you know, if you decide not to put that money in, again, I'll be coming back. If I need money, I'll be coming back and asking for it to get through the end of the year. We're in very bad shape right now, financially. We've been finding money to try to cover the overtime. When we had those people leave back in June, that just about decimated our local road. And we had no part-timers, because part-timers that I had were still in school. They got out of school, I hired them full-time, and then they were on the road almost 2 months learning what they had to learn from our office before I could cut them free on the road. And it just ate up our overtime. And we had a bad winter where we ate up a lot of overtime during the winter too. In fact, I told my staff that I was cutting back the overtime for 3 or 4 months, that we weren't going to do things or anything because we had to get back on track from the winter. And then we had these people leave. So it just threw us in disarray.
So getting up to just about the end of the third quarter, how do you feel you're going to look in December?
Unfortunately, I think I might be back here asking for money. Right now, we're stealing money out of lines where people leave, and some people have a little extra money left in those lines because there's a lax in that line, or the new person coming in makes less money, things like that. We've been taking their money out of those lines. Or if somebody gets hurt on the outside and they're out, and we don't have to pay them, if they don't have time, whatever, they're on disability, short-term or long-term disability, we use that money. So that's what we've been doing to get through, and right now, it's going to be close, really, really close.
Sheriff, it sounds like personnel is a big issue for you,
Oh, yeah.
staffing. And I believe I spoke to the undersheriff about the same thing. At some point, do you feel we need to study this, examine it, and figure out how to fix this? You know, it's just...
Well, yeah, it's an easy fix, but it's a costly fix. That's the problem. You know, if you were to pay these people what the surrounding people make, it would cost you more money. But we're not going to be training all the time. You're not going to have people leave. People in my office tell me they'd rather stay here than go to any other place. They like working for the county. And it's tough when I can't pay them $10,000 more and they leave. So that's the root of all this evil, is the money. And if I didn't have to keep training people, we wouldn't have to keep sending people to psychiatrists. We would, it just a tumbling effect. Many years ago, Personnel Director Bea did what you're asking for, and he came up with like $800,000 it was costing the county for all the departments, for all the training we were doing and all the replacement. He factored everything in. And he said, if you paid them more, you could probably cut this in half even. But that's the root of the evil, is the money. And I know it's tough, and find the money. but-
Right, right.
But that would stabilize the workforce, and I don't have consistency in my people. They're constantly leaving. And so the people coming on board, they don't have an idea how to do half the stuff they're doing. They always are looking for advice how to do stuff. That's why we have issues with lawsuits, because you have new people working all the time. It's not a consistency there. And once you have that consistency, again, you're not spending the big dollars. When we have people leave, we just had a person leave not too long ago to Schenectady. You know, it's costing, if Schenectady pays us, it's costing them $5,000 for a fully trained person that they know is a good employee because they worked for me for almost 2.5 years. And so they know the person's does good work, is a good person, and now they've only paid $5,000. And I paid over $20-some thousand for that person to get the training they had. That's what's happening.
We used to get a lot of them in Amsterdam, come up there from there.
Almost everybody in Amsterdam working there.
Yeah, he trains them, they come up there for.
His name was Blowsville and Johnstown, Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
Well, I don't know how the other legislators feel, but I feel that we should at least come up with a game plan, or come up with a plan and try to address it, or start to address
Excuse
it.
me, but it's a simple solution. You bring your pays up to what everybody else is around us.
Where are you getting the money from, though?
What's that?
Where are you gonna get the money from, though?
And then you're gonna continually have a problem.
Oh, I agree with you, but that's a
I'm
process.
not saying anything about that.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I'm not being critical, I'm as frustrated as you,
yeah.
But,
as all of us.
but the only thing, it may balance out,
I'm sure you are.
you know.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. If you pay more money now, you gotta come up with the money now, but you know what? It's gonna be a constant, it'll be constant. Instead of me asking you for $200,000 this year for a part-time, I might only ask you for 150 or 120.
Yes, that's person.
You know, because I know I'm not gonna have that turnover where I gotta keep backfilling my full-time people with my part-time people.
I'm not saying it.
That's something that you have to make a decision on. I know that's the answer, you probably know that's the answer, but
Yeah.
it's, you have to go up with the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Think about Kevin Conadine over there.
I believe we need to do something. Has the county executive talked to
We're in
you about?
negotiations right now with the deputies.
Okay,
The corrections haven't settled yet. The only ones that have settled, well, not settled, but the corrections supervisors have just ratified the terms of the negotiations we had. Now it has to come to the legislature to see if you agree with it.
Mr. Chairman, I think we should take this up further.
okay.
It's something that we need to discuss.
Maybe Chairman Isabel of Public Safety can
Be very happy to.
set up some meetings and,
Because I don't believe it's as simple as just increasing wages. You know, there are break-even points for simply hiring more personnel
I think we got to
at
figure
this,
it out.
at this level
Yeah.
versus overtime. There are other ways to look at it. They should all be factored in, not just
Right.
some.
Right. And whether we need to get somebody in here that can do that, or,
Well, we were having the same problem in Amsterdam, and we decided to add more full-time people to eliminate a lot of the overtime.
Right.
It worked out in our favor, it needs to be figured out.
okay, we're gonna try to work on that for you, a plan anyways.
If you have any other questions, you need to call me, email me,
Okay.
whatever.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you for your time, thank you for your understanding.
The sheriff, I would like to see what it would cost exactly for 2 cars. Just got me in mind.
We can email you that tomorrow. All right.
It's good.
We can break it down, the cars, the equipment that's going.
Yeah.
All right, this way we can see what we think.
All right.
Here they used to come to us for more money 2-3 times a year before the police department.
Yeah, I know it.
And this is a problem.
It's a good, yeah, it's a good, yeah, it's an
Thank you
expensive.
very much, Sheriff.
Okay, Sheriff. It's an expensive business. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so just while we have breaking the action here, just one quick one, a little story. Because I
Okay.
was asked one time about, when I was mayor, about consolidation of the Amsterdam Police Department and the Sheriff's Department. And I thought it was a good idea to combine the understaffed Sheriff's Department with the understaffed Police Department and make one big understaffed department. So the thing is a little more complex, and I'm glad we can take a look at that.